Hey guys, what is up? Internet land. Let me hit this button here. Welcome to the first ever in the history of man Hex TCG Pro YouTube video. I mean, I'm sorry the name isn't very awesome, but that's what we got right now. I'm here with Big Boss Man Tada, which is our lead editor for our website. He's the creepy looking guy below me, and I'm the sexy looking guy up here. How you doing? Dusty O'Brien. This is John Tada, master of all that is card games. That's what we call him for short, which is ironically longer. Tada, why don't you give us a little bit of introduction of who you are, why we should listen to you, why you look creepy?
Well, my name's John. I've been playing card games for the better part of my life, and now I am the editor here at HexTCGPro. And we hope to bring you all the best content that you can find around, and hope to be around for a while.
Yeah, I'm sure we will be because we're awesome.
I think so.
My name is Dusty O'Brien. I've played professional games for over 10 years. I hope I don't give away my age with that. I'm 200 years old. So that's why you should listen to me, because I'm awesome. Not really. Just pretty new to card games, which is I've only been playing card games for about 2 years. But I've had awesome people like Tada and old Zach Cavus teaching me basically how to be awesome at card games. So because of that, I've won some cool local tournaments and stuff like that. Nothing really internationally, but I did play StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3 professionally and won some money there, and pretty much an awesome guy. So I think that's enough with the introductions. Let's move on to the website. Like, what is this website, John Tada? Like, what is this HexTCG.com? What is this thing?
Well, it's basically just a group of old pros that I've teamed with in other games. Versus System, World of Warcraft, Magic, various other games. We all got back together and wanted to make a strategy website to help people out. And Hex is a game that we were all interested in. So if you check the staff page on the website, when it's live, there'll be a listing there of all our current writers and their past winnings and tournament results, and check us all out. And we really just want to help everyone out, and we've the support so far has been outstanding.
Definitely.
And we're really looking forward to doing this.
Awesome. Okay, well, what's your goal with the website? Like, what do you look like personally to do with the website? Like, what is your one thing?
Really just to help people. Like to bring like other games into the spotlight here. Magic, for example, has Star City Games and Channel Fireball, and other websites that are very popular. WoW has websites as well, and we just want to be the Hex website that people go to for strategy articles and information, and I think we have a good start on that.
Awesome, great, yeah. Me similarly, what I want to do, I just want to bring awesome content to the website. From doing competitive esports for such a long time, I was an MOG pro gamer. I kind of moved on to be a coach and do lessons and stuff like that. So I just want to do the same thing here, but do to obviously a wider audience. And I just want to go over stuff, really help analyze content. If you ever watch Day 9 Daily, I want to do similar content like that, but for Hex. I think Hex is an awesome spot to be probably one of the biggest esports games that is coming up soon.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it even could compete with old Big Boss Man League of Legends, maybe.
We'll see.
Awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today?
Well, we, for the 6 shards for Hex here, 5 plus artifacts, our goal is to outline what we feel like are the current best cards that have been previewed so far. Today, I believe, is June 5th, and up till today, there's been several cards previewed, but today we're going to cover artifacts, blood, and wild. And then next week sometime, probably towards the middle of the week, we'll cover the other 3 shards.
Awesome, yeah. So basically, we're just covering the Kickstarter cards, right? Like, up to the end of the Kickstarter campaign, all the cards has been spoiled to them. So
right.
That's cool. All right, well, is there anything you want to add before we jump right into this boss of a thing here?
I don't think so. Let's jump right in and start talking about some cards.
So basically, we'll be outlining our top 3, and then basically honorable mentions that we each kind of like, that we almost put in the top 3, but we just wasn't quite good enough, or we're not quite sure about. So we'll start out with artifacts. Moving on in. First card we're going to talk about. So Shrine of Prosperity. What do you think about this card? I know you're kind of...
Yeah, well, when I first saw this card, I was pretty excited for it. I still am pretty excited for it, but after seeing the other artifacts, it's not quite as exciting, but it's still, I feel, one of the best cards previewed so far. So basically, what this does for a control deck is make all of your spells cost 1 less mana,
Sure.
which is very, very good if you can get it out turn 2, 3, 4 even. Also, it makes your troops a permanent +1/+1, which is also very, very good for winning, mirror matches or for stabilizing the board. It's also the resource clause to, like, I think the way it works is it double charges your champion, which is very, very good. So, this card does everything for, like, mid-range and control strategies.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of what makes a good artifact card good, right? It's kind of that thing that's like neutral. It makes any deck can take advantage of it. I mean, it's very similar to like Druidic Satchel, but a lot better. And Druidic Satchel saw play Magic, so I wouldn't see why this better version wouldn't see play.
Yeah, it's very, very, very good.
Sure, I like it a lot. I think it's neat. I definitely like the charging off the resource. I think that's really neat. I think we're going to see a lot of cool stuff. It's cool that it doesn't have like a blank. You know what I mean? It's not cool that like it only works on creatures or only works like it actually covers everything, which is really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. We are in agreement of how awesome the card is. Let's move on to probably it's actually one of my favorite artifact cards. This is like my favorite thing about artifact cards. I love cards like this. It's just like a 1-drop 1/1 that charges your champion. Like, these are the kind of cards that become standard staples, like cards that you see in almost every deck. Like, it's just an awesome card. Even for something like Blood, for example, you can bring this card out. It's a 1/1. You charge your champion. You can sacrifice it, draw 3 cards. It's like, it's such a cool card. You can chump block with it. Like, well, what do you think?
Yeah, I can get behind all of that. This card will probably see most play in the dwarf decks. As we saw on the Twitch stream from Cryptozoic the other day, the charge bot was just pretty much insane.
Oh, sure.
It came into play, charge your champion, put more worker bots in to play from your charge power, activated to power up your other artifacts. This guy pretty much does it all for that type of deck, and I really do expect him to see probably 4x in every dwarf deck, and
for sure.
Probably several other decks too will play at least some. I don't see why not.
Like, the cool thing about it is this card only gets better as charge powers get better as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, right now we haven't seen like super impressive charge powers, obviously, but the ones we've seen are okay. And like, if we get some crazy charge power, this card's only going to be even better. So.
Yeah, like even that Diamond Life Gain deck that they were playing in the stream, like, this guy fits right in there to charge your hero to give a creature life drain, and it also serves as a creature for the troop that when a creature comes into play, you gain a life. I think it was. Yeah. Just cards like that. It serves multi-purposes, and like I really like the card quite a bit.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's kind of the point of the top 3 cards too. They're good on their own. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And this card definitely shines just by itself. All right, move into the top card of the artifact cards. All Volcan. Like, I know you're really excited about this card.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this card. I feel like it gives you a win condition without really trying too much. The dwarf deck, I hate to keep going back to the Twitch stream, but like, the dwarf deck that he was playing had like 10 or 12 artifacts in play. So if he had Volcan in play at any point, like, you just win the game.
Oh, sure.
And I feel like this card is just going to be a game winner pretty much the moment it comes down in the play.
Yeah, and like, the other thing I like about this card too is the rarity of it. I mean, that seems kind of weird, but like, it's not, it's not going to be hard to get your hands on a playset or 3 or how many you decide to play in your deck.
Sure. Yeah, but for the mid-range or controlled dwarf decks, like, this card is awesome, and even for something that's a little more like aggro, just a quick way to deal 3 or 6 damage. So I mean, I really like the card.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's by far the best artifact card we've seen. I think that
it's up there.
Yeah, it really makes it really brings artifacts, decks to give it a win con. You know what I mean? Like, it makes the deck. It's the card that if you're going to play an artifact deck card, you're going to have this card in the deck, and that's what we kind of expect out of the top cards. For that. So let's move on to your runner-up. I mean, let's see, get this thing deleted. There we go. This is a card too I really like. I was really excited about this card when I saw it preview too. Oh, Argus.
Yeah. This card I'm pretty excited about. It is a troop, so it can be killed, maybe easily, maybe not. It is an 0/5, and so far we haven't really seen anything that does 5 damage. But this guy comes into play and just takes over the game. The fact that he is a troop, he can't use his powers right away, but if you get to untap with him in play, like, there's no way you can possibly lose the game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the things that kind of made him not one of our top cards is his ridiculous cost. I mean, yes, he does have a way to kind of
Right.
reduce that, but like if you get him too late in the game, like if you draw him on turn 7, like you're kind of in a bad spot. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so like you said, he is a troop, so he's a little bit more weak than the other cards. I think he's past that sweet spot, like 3 toughness, where like the only thing that can really kill him so far is murder.
Right.
But I mean, I think he has potential to be an awesome finisher for control decks. I think he's going to be a card to definitely watch out for. Like I like him a lot. I think he's neat.
Yeah, same. And he's obviously really insane with the artifact that untaps other artifacts. Like,
Oh sure.
there'll be plenty of ways to like abuse this guy, but he's too powerful to not like at least talk about.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah. I think he's in a good spot. I think they did a good job balancing. Like I haven't seen any cards so far that I've been like, oh my god, like this card is broken.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, let's move on to my card, my runner-up. Sorry again for this kind of janky way to bring these up here, but this card I think is so cool. And this is like what we talked about a little bit with the charge ball, but these are how I like my artifact cards. I like my artifact cards to be able to be played in any deck, and they're just super unique, almost like a neutral card, like what I think a neutral card should be. And like Volcan's really cool, but it's only good in like artifact decks. But this card you can put in any deck. I mean, it comes in, gives you a threshold, and you can pay for it to draw a card. The only downside I don't like about this card is I think 4 mana maybe be just a little too much to draw a card. But the effect is really powerful when it comes into play. I really, really like the card.
Yeah, I'm also a pretty big fan of it. And like I think if any deck is going to be 3, 4, or even 5 colors, like this card is going to be a pretty key part of that deck.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
Cool. All right, well that's pretty much artifacts. Short and sweet. Moving on to my favorite color. I don't know about you, John Tata, but my favorite color, old blood.
yeah, I like blood. Yeah, I think sapphire is my favorite color, but that's just because it's blue.
Oh, here we go. Sapphire. All right, number 3, a Wretched Brood. What do you think about this card?
I think this card has the potential to be pretty format defining. It's kind of reminiscent of Bitter Blossom from Magic.
For sure. The first time I saw this card, that's what I thought of was Bitter Blossom.
Yeah, it costs one more mana, and the tokens can't really like attack without doing other things. But the card is super powerful. And,
yeah, like even just making chump blockers, for example.
Right. Yeah. Chump blockers to save yourself some life. If you have the Shin-Haired Lords in play that pump them, that's really good. There's plenty of ways to like abuse the Battle Hopper tokens, as we've seen in other streams and demo games. Like there's Evolve, which gives them all +1/+1. There's plenty of cards that boost their attack, but this card is really, really good. And also note that it costs 1 blood threshold, which means it's going to be super easy to splash.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I'm pretty big fan of this card. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, me too. I think the only thing that at least me personally didn't want me to put this higher in the list of blood cards is number 1, just the retarded power we've seen so far in blood cards. But number 2 is the fact that like unlike Bitter Blossom, the bunnies don't really have quite a way to really abuse that many. They don't have like the spell sprite or what I mean, like a card that really is like super advantageous if you have it out. So I think the 0/1 chump blockers are great, and I think that this card will definitely take over games by itself, like a lot of blood cards have the potential to do.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving on to our number 2 pick. Oh, Vampire King. I love this card.
Yeah, Vampire King is one of those cards where I know that when we were talking, we couldn't figure out if we wanted to put him at 1 or 2. But
Sure.
like he is super powerful, and he's probably, I don't know if he's the best creature we've seen so far, but he's definitely up there.
Oh, yeah.
And any blood deck, like mid-range blood deck, even aggro, even control is going to want to play some number of this guy, and he's not unique either, which is something to also keep in mind, that you could have multiple guys in play and make multiple vampires when you kill one of their guys.
Yeah, and like in case anyone doesn't know, just to add in real quick, the vampires he makes are 2/2 flyers.
Right. Yeah.
So that's not. It's not like he makes a 1/1 like ground unit or something. He actually makes cards that are absurd.
Yeah. All the flight creatures in this game seem very, very good and really undercosted, which is pretty sweet because they're very hard to block, obviously.
Yeah. I like this card a lot. I like that it, like you said, it plays right into the what control wants to do. It's a very good mid-range
Yeah.
card. I like it a lot. I think it's gonna be very scary. Even something like playing it after a board wipe. Just this card itself can
Yeah.
can just take over the game. Just by a 3/3 flyer for 4 is good. Like
Yeah, well, 3 seems to be the magic number in toughness, like 3 or 4. So
yeah,
like
exactly.
he's really hard to kill.
I think the only thing we've seen that can kill 3-cost creatures is mortar, right? And they only kill them when they're on the deck. Like 2 is as
Yeah,
far we've seen as far as a burn star.
So far, I mean, I'm sure there'll be cards that do it, but for right now, like we haven't seen anything that really deals with this guy very easily.
If you don't have murder, this card's, as far as we know so far, unkillable to any kind of spell removal. So this card is awesome. I love it. It's my boy. He even has his drink on his hand there. All right, moving on to our number 1 card. This card I think is bananas. A whole Blood Harbinger, dude. This guy, or girl, or whatever this crazy looking orc thing is.
Yeah, he's insane. He, she, I can't really tell, but the card is absolutely insane. Magic went through a block where they had cards like this, and they called them like punishment cards, I think. And basically, what it did is it made your opponent, make a choice of either take X damage or let something happen. And this card is going to be super insane in any fast deck. You play him turn 2, like you attack with them. If your opponent blocks and kills them, like you kill their creature, and you can search for either a second one or your opponent just takes 5 damage,
Sure.
which is fine with you because that's what you want to do anyway.
Well, what's really cool about this card is there's no downside for you. You would think that a card like this would have if it dies, maybe you take 5 damage or something retarded like that, but it's not. It's like either way, your opponent's screwed.
Yeah, like cards like this, I dislike them a lot because they make your opponent, make bad decisions.
Sure.
Which is obviously very good for you. Anytime you make your opponent think more than they have to, like they have a chance to mess up.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So as early as turn 2, even like it's really 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 good. And almost always the right choice will be taking 5 damage, but there'll be times where you just can't take 5 damage and just lose to this guy.
And what's really cool is he's even good later in the game. You know what I mean? Like he's not just a turn 2 play. Like obviously ideal situations if they're at 5 life, you play him out, then it's like, oh shit, like what am I gonna do? So it's pretty cool. I like him a lot. I think he's cool. I think like you said, he makes your opponents make decisions, which like you said is a very, I think, oftentimes forgotten skill to do during the game. Like making your opponent make decisions is always good for you.
Yeah.
So moving on to our number 1 card. Oh, actually, no.
Yeah, that actually was
our number 1 card. Tata's honorable mention here. Let's see him.
Yeah, this card is really tough to put in the top 3 because it's so narrow. It does one thing, but it's very good at what it does. So far, it's the only card that we've seen other than Judgment, which is kind of a niche card. But this card just straight up destroys all troops. And there's nothing in the game so far that does this, and traditionally cards like this are super powerful and just really good build around me cards. So I expect to see a lot of slower blood decks and even slower blue decks or whatever play this card to just take control of the game.
I mean, well, like you said, a card like this is staple to have a control deck. They need a board wipe, they need stuff like that to help them battle against aggro. It's also I like that it's 5 cost. I think that's really cool because I do think cards like Day of Judgment and stuff are just a little undercosted at 4. And I think 5 is a cool sweet spot. It lets aggro have a chance to win. And then,
and that's why this card isn't in the top 3 is because it costs 5.
Exactly.
If it costs 4 when you're going first, you could wipe the board basically on your opponent's 3rd turn, which is a little bit too powerful probably. So it's pretty good costed, and it's a pretty well-balanced card.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's really neat. I mean, I'm a control player. I love it, so a card like this makes me super excited, as does this next card, which is my honorable mention. Old Zombie Plague. I love this card so much. I think it's so cool. I think this card is like the Midrange Killer. If your creature comes out on turn 4, this card has the potential to kill it or make it almost worthless. And I think the effect is so unique, and I think this is a perfect example of why Hex is going to be such a cool card game. That they can have cards like this that work the way they do is such a neat concept. I mean, obviously, we have nothing to compare this card to. This is obviously a very unique card.
Yeah.
But I think that its effect is very powerful. It hoses aggro. It makes the zombies are 2/2s, right? Or they're 1/1s?
Yeah,
They're
yeah, two
2/2s, right?
twos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the zombies are 2/2s, which are awesome. I mean, if you can get this out early against aggro, kill one of their top creatures, get a 2/2 blocker, I mean, you can really put aggro behind for really just the cost of 2 mana.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like the only problem I have with this card and why I didn't think it should be in the top 3 is that it is really bad if you draw it late in the game. It's like a dead draw.
Sure, sure.
But like otherwise, if you play this card like turn 3 or 4, like or even 2, like it's very 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 good.
I mean, the coolest thing about this card is it's even good against the control mirror, right? Like, if you get this out on turn 2, and, like, your, finisher is a 6-drop, or let's say even take, like, Argus, for example, right? He's an 0/5. So, like, this card has the potential, because control decks usually don't run more than a couple creatures, to actually just kill your only threats in your deck before you can even play them, which is really cool.
Yeah, it makes you keep things in mind when you're building a deck that only has, like, 2 or 3 troops, like, to try to kill your opponent. Because if someone plays this card on you, and they just kill your 0/5, before you can play it, like, there's not really a whole lot, you can do.
Sure, sure. All right, cool. We'll move on to the last group of cards, all wild, which surprisingly has been a lot of fun. Like,
yeah, wild, like, traditionally green, and basically, like, any game I've played ever, like, I'm not really a fan of. But in this game so far, I've been pretty excited for the green cards.
Yeah, and this one just got spoiled today, our number 3 pick, which we had to make some changes after we saw this card spoiled, but I think it's such a cool card. And the more I read it, the more I think about it, the more I'm, like, super excited about it. But
Yeah, this card has the potential to be super good. First off, it's a 6-cost 4/4 flight. Like, 4/4 flight is very good, and I think it's either the biggest or one of the biggest flight creatures previewed so far.
sure.
And to give a permanent +X+X, where X is that card's cost of what you play, is just insane. And I believe it works with what's it called? Eye of
Creation?
something.
Yeah.
Eye of Creation.
It does. I read the card, and the card does say, like, you play. You know what I mean? Like, you play them. It doesn't
Sure,
like,
yeah.
So,
Because you play them for free, but they still maintain their casting cost. So your dragon will
I see
get
what you're saying,
+X+X, equal that spell's casting cost, and you can just bash your opponent for a million damage on like turn 5 or 6 even.
Yeah, well, with the other, I mean, green has some ramp. I mean, wild has the ramp to get him out on like turn 4 or 5. That won't be hard.
Yeah.
But like, what's really cool about him is that, like, if you play him on turn 6, then turn 7 play Eye of Creation. You're like, you're just pumping him, and then you just swing. I mean, you have the potential to almost swing for a game if you get lucky enough off the Eye Creation, which obviously we don't like to talk a lot about luck, but to have a card have that kind of potential that you can get out on turn 4 or 5 is unbelievable to me. I think this card is going to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be staple. Maybe we should have put it higher. I don't know, but I think this card is pretty
I don't know,
ridiculous.
but I'm a pretty big fan. Well, the other 2 cards that we're going to talk about, like, I think are just bonkers. So this card is definitely, like, up on the list, but I don't think it's as good as the other 2.
Yeah, I agree. Which is why we had the list. All right, number 2. I feel like we should have some kind of like cool like countdown or something there. All right, here we go. Number 2. I don't know how to say this word. I'm gonna admit it. I have no idea.
It looks like chlorophylla. So we'll go with chlorophylla.
Maybe.
So I don't think it's an actual thing, but here we go. Like, okay, this card so far is, I think, the only card that actually ramps you currently. Like, I'm sure green will have more, but so far this actually ramps you 2 turns for 3 mana, which is really, 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 really good. I mean, the only downside, and sure, like, whatever, it costs 2 wild threshold to play, but like, I can't think of any downsides to this card at all. Like, it's it ramps you to the dragon, it ramps you to like really big Eye of Creations, it just ramps you into like the green 6 and 7 drops. Like, there's no downside to this card, and every deck playing green that's trying to do anything in the mid or late game will play for it.
Sure, like, this card is absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, from a Magic standpoint, rampant growth is played, and it ramps you 1. You know what I mean? It's
Sure,
like
yeah.
1. It's like for 1 more, you do it twice. I mean,
Right.
This card does seem absurd. I know when we told a couple of our friends about this card, they just it's like they double took. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this card is actually absurd.
Yeah.
Ramp is super powerful. I mean, we
Like,
just talked about the dragon.
And it charges your champion twice, which is also just insane.
Sure. Like, we talked about it, like, just a little bit ago with the dragon, but play this on turn 3, put you to turn 5. You play a mana next turn, and you can drop dragon on turn 4. Like,
Yeah.
Like that's just an unbelievable opening and very, 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 very strong.
Yeah.
Also, like this card says, those resources don't generate temporary resource points this turn. Can you explain what that means, John? Like maybe for people who...
It basically means that your lands come into play tapped.
Sure,
So you can't use those resources this turn.
sure. Oh
But
darn.
but then on the following turn it'll just refresh like like
Cool.
every other turn.
All right, cool. All right, let's move on to our Big Daddy number one. It's media file.
Yeah, and this next card is probably the best card that we've seen so far.
Yeah, this card's awesome. I love this card. I'm struggling to get it out here because it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Here we go. Eye of Creation. This card is bonkers.
Yeah, this card, like, okay, so in Magic, there's a card called Genesis Wave, which is basically this card, but not quite as good. The reason why this card is better is because if you flip over other copies of Eye of Creation, you can just do it again, which is obviously insane, because if you can get one big for 4 or 5, it's not that unreasonable to flip another one. So, to do it again for 4 or 5, like, I just can't even possibly see how you could lose the game. It puts resources into play, so it actually is like a ramp card. It's super good, and it does so many things. And I see in the early stages of the game, like the set 1 decks, this card is probably going to be this, center point of quite a few decks. Like, I know me, for example, like, this will be one of the first decks I build and test, just because like it's way too powerful not to at least try it.
Yeah, what's really cool, most cards, like you mentioned Genesis Wave, most cards like this really do, like, if you hit another copy of it, or if you hit something weird, like, it kind of, like, puts a little stopper on your combo, basically. This card is so, like, no matter what you hit, it's a benefit. And I've noticed that that's been kind of a way that Cryptozoic has done with a lot of their cards. They've made them so, like, they've taken, like, almost the downside of the card and made it good. You know what I mean? So it's good all the way around, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The fact that you hit this card and it copies itself is insane. I mean, like...
Yeah, well, plus this lets you play other spells that you flip too. Like in Magic with Genesis Wave, if you flipped over instants and sorceries, like, you couldn't play them.
Yeah, exactly.
But this card, if you flip over instants and sorceries, like, you can just play them. So I mean, that's like, there's nothing bad about this card whatsoever. Like, the only downside is that it's 3 wild threshold, and it's like, sure, I just have to play mono green, so I kill you with my dragon instead of, like,
sure.
something from another color.
Yeah, this card is absurd. Like we talked about, even with the dragon we were talking about before, this is a retarded pump spell for him. If you can get lucky enough to even have enough mana to play this into him, I mean, there's just so many endless possibilities with this card. There's absolutely no time you can cast this card that is, like, a bad time to cast it. Like, I feel like, no matter when you cast it.
Drawing this card on, like, turn 7 or 8, you're like, awesome. Like, I drew this card. Like, some of the other cards on our list, it's like, man, I drew the Zombie Plague on turn 7. Like, that sucks. But this card, it's like, there's no point in the game where I'm like, man, I have too many Eye of Creations.
That's awesome. All right, so we'll move on to your runner-up, Mr. John Sato. This card is actually kind of hard to read. I apologize. This is the best quality of this card we can find. But...
Old Isumi here. Let's see. Izumi is a 7-cost wild bunny, 2 green threshold, which is not a big deal on turn 7. But what she does is, if she's in your opening hand, you can reveal her and you make a battle hopper. So that's obviously really good to start the game with an 0-1. That you can pump and do whatever with. And then once she's in play, she's a 3/4, which is very, very hard to kill, as we've seen. And you create a random non-unique Shinhair, which I think is really, really good, because we haven't seen too many Shinhairs. But to create more of the Lords, the card that gives all your guys +1/+1 is very, very good. And I'm sure there'll be some pretty sweet Shinhairs.
Oh yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that card. Because it says random on it. Like, I don't think it's top 3 material, but
sure. It's like that's like, to be honest with you, that's the hardest thing that I've, like, had to adapt to, coming from, like, pro computer gaming to, like, card games, is just a little bit of randomness. Like, to me, like, I hate random. I hate saying the word random. Like, to me, that's why this isn't in the top 3. Also, I think it's a little expensive for the type of decks I think bunnies will be trying to build. I think 7 mana might be just a little too much. I think they'll want to like stick with lower cost creatures and try to pump them up and kill you before turn 7.
Sure.
But this card, it has the potential, which is why it's where it's at, to be an all-star card. If
Yeah.
they take away random and put like something else in there, I would be super happy. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and like I know you said that blood earlier was probably your favorite color so far, and I said mine was probably sapphire, but wild is really giving sapphire like a run for its money. I think for my favorite color, and like I said, I usually hate
Sure,
green colors.
Green has always been kind of like the slow, like I'm gonna make big guys on turn a million and destroy you, and it's like that's cool, I guess. But like Wild in this game has been such a cool color so far. Like it really has been. I feel like with all its similarities to Magic, Green in this game has really kind of taken Green to a different level, I guess. Which I guess is a good segue into my card because I love this card. I think this is so cool, especially for a green card. I feel like you never see something like this. The old Wildebeest. I love this thing. It looks a little stupid, but I like it. The old 1-drop 3/3 Haster. Like I love this guy. I think he's so cool. I think he's another reason why Hex is going to be such an awesome, amazing game. The fact he's a 1-drop 3/3 is awesome to me. Then he gets basically +3/+3 and he gets shuffled back into your decks. I mean, we talked about it a little bit to Zach, and it's like a retarded situation. But like, if you play him on turn 1, attack for 3, he goes back into your deck, and you draw him back out on turn 2. It's such an absurd turn 2 play to me. Like,
yeah, while that will never happen, that's basically like, magical hex land here. But
sure.
Like I think that this card will probably be best splashed into like some sort of like wild and blood faster deck, or even wild and like ruby deck. He doesn't I don't think he fits the green theme, which is really
he doesn't at all.
Yeah, but
which is what's so cool about him. Like I think it's so unique to see a green card that does this.
Yeah, and also his obvious downside is that he shuffles back into your deck, but if you redraw him, that's
and that's like you said earlier, that's a huge if. I mean, the fact that you play him out. I mean, so far we haven't seen any like Green Sun Zenith type card where you can like search out another creature or anything like that. So like it is very like wishful thinking to hope that like you're going to draw him on turn 2 or actually ever draw him again. Like the chances of you draw him again is probably going to be next to nothing, which is why he's where he's at. But I thought this card.
He is very good at what he does. Like he comes into play, does 3 damage, and then goes away. And when and if he comes back, like he does 6 more damage, and he sticks around. So that's he's pretty good. Like I definitely like him. I'm just curious to see what decks will find room for him.
Sure.
I think his most obvious fit is probably in a Ruby Wild sort of deck with a bunch of speed creatures. But we'll see.
I think out of I mean, this is me personally, but I think out of all of our cards so far, this is the weakest one. Like I think by far, I think he takes a little bit of luck or a little bit of I don't know, extreme deck building to ever get him to pay off. But I think if he does, it's just such an absurd card, and I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's all of our cards so far. Like you said, I think next Friday we should have up, maybe earlier, I'm not sure exactly when we're going to do these videos, but we'll have the next 3 callers up, which is really cool. If you have any comments or suggestions on how we can make this video better, please let us know. Like, I will take all criticism, and I love it. So we can make it any better for you guys. I mean, these videos are for you. I mean, that's my main goal, is to make sure everyone has some place they can come and learn about this game that me and like everyone else I know are so excited for. Like I cannot wait to just talk to you guys about this game and do everything I can to improve your guys' skills. So whatever we can do, please let us know. We'll do mock drafts, maybe if we can get some kind of draft database up or something. Like whatever we can do. I think we're talking about maybe doing something similar to this, but with draft cards. Just talking about like what cards would be really cool in draft. So
yeah, we'll definitely be doing these videos more often. Like I think, in fact, you were even talking about doing it 2 or 3 times a week.
Sure.
Doing like a weekly roundup of decks and game. You can do like tournament reports on the weekend. So many different things you can do with video, which is great. To comment on this video, I believe it's going on YouTube, and also right down below the video here. Is a comment box where you can comment on the article on our website, which our authors can see and comment back to you probably much more quickly than than YouTube. But yeah, it's I'm pretty excited about the whole series, and I'm looking forward to doing much more.
Yeah, for sure. Like, also we have one more warrior tier to give away as well that we'll be doing. We haven't really, I think, decided where we're going to give it away at, but also keep
Yeah, right.
keep watching for that. We have Cryptozoic has been awesome enough to give us a warrior tier to give away, or 3 warrior tiers to give away. So
Yeah, so by the time this goes live, see here in a few hours, I'll be giving out the warrior tiers to our Facebook viewers, and so by the time this goes live, it would have been last night. The winners will be announced. But it's I love doing contests, love giving things away. Here in the future, once Kickstarter is over, of course, we'll be giving away probably free drafts, free packs, cards. We have many players from our group here that are going to be streaming the game, so they'll be also giving away free stuff. And who doesn't like free stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
All right. Also, here's our website. Pop that up real quick. This goes live today. Get out of here, Notepad. Here's our TCG website. It just says about to go live, which is pretty cool. Old Chevy Dodd hooked us up with that. A little shout out to him. Also,
yep. Chevy's been working pretty hard on this. From this one here, we'll have a few more articles go up on that by the time it's live. But it's pretty excited about it. There's the Facebook page, of course. But right there on the right side of the screen, you'll see. I'll go back to the website. There, you have the Facebook link, the Twitter, the YouTube, the Twitch, all there on the right side. So once the website's live, just click on any of those boxes to like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, see our YouTube videos, or even our own official Twitch stream.
Okay.
So that's
awesome.
That's all right.
Here's our Big Daddy Hex Facebook page too.
Yeah, Facebook page is up to 361 likes, which
is
so
awesome. Thank you guys.
Completely blows me away. I know like a lot of our friends have liked it as support, but several hundred of those people are people that I have never even heard of, and I'm just blown away that they would like our page, and I'm really looking forward to talking to all of them and getting to know them, and hopefully they visit the site.
We should do something like if they get to 500 likes, we'll like do the next video in dresses or something.
Well, maybe you can do that.
I mean, that wouldn't be. I think you should. I mean, you do that normally anyway, right?
So I'm sure that we'll do some fun things with that, and like same for our Twitter followers, and just things like that. So like I said, I can't thank everyone enough, and I'm super excited for everything, and I can't wait to launch this, and really. Most of all, I can't wait till we get to actually play the game.
Oh god, I know it's gonna be so awesome. Like, I mean, obviously our content's gonna be a little bit lacking until we get up to the
sure, yeah,
game,
we'll have like an article or two a week to keep people just constant stream of articles. We'll do these videos probably like at least once a week until the game comes out. There's always stuff we can talk about.
Sure.
They're releasing cards basically 2 or 3 at a time, so they're easy to preview. So there'll be no lack of content, between now and alpha. But as soon as alpha testing starts, like assuming there's no NDA, like we'll be streaming pretty much nonstop. So
cool. You got anything else to add, Mr. Tanner?
No, I don't think so. I think we got covered everything. Next week, like I said, will be I think Diamond, Sapphire, and Ruby. We'll cover.
I'm pretty pumped about.
Yeah, all 3 of those colors. Really. All the colors and even artifacts in the game so far, they've all been very, very good. The colors seem really balanced, and I'm like I think I like the diamond cards quite a bit too. We'll see what comes out.
Really, I
between
think so
now
far
and then.
Diamond has been my least favorite. I felt like when we went through and picked all of our cards, like Diamond was my least favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they haven't released as many cards for Diamond, and it's just like I feel like it has the same problem that Mono White does, right? It's like or White does in general, which is kind of a boring color.
Well, Diamond's probably my least favorite color too, but I still actually really like it.
Sure.
So that's really cool because in Magic and in WoW, for example, there were certain colors or classes that just didn't really like the play style of. But so far in this, from what we've seen, I'm excited to try all the decks, and even the deck from the Twitch stream, the mono diamond life gain thing.
Sure.
Was looking pretty cool. You know
I mean,
that.
he had like one creature out in the field for like 8 turns and like still won. Like it was absurd. Like
Yeah.
so.
So,
Good times, good times. Well, guys, thank you so much again for watching. I can't thank you guys enough. I really, really appreciate it. This is going to be awesome. I'm super excited to get more videos out, get more content out. Again, please, please, please subscribe to us on YouTube and like us on Facebook. That stuff helps more than you could ever know. Maybe if we get enough money or support, we can get Tana some hair, which would be great. And thank you guys so much for showing up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Brandon for helping me with the background because it was just a black screen before, which looked janky, like Jank City in the back there until Brandon stepped in and helped us out. Thank you, Chevy, for the awesome website. Tata, thank you for coming on here and teaching us how to be awesome. I mean,
yeah, do what I can.
all right, guys, thank you so much again for watching. We'll see you guys next time. No, blank screen, where you at? All right, there we go.